Did you realize, okay, this really is something special? Denis has a vision, like we really
Well, I
are.
always loved Denis, but he has this fantastic way of making you feel like he doesn't really know what's going on sometimes. He'd be like, I haven't had enough coffee today, my friends. Sorry, I'm a little fucked up. I need to like blah, 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 blah. You know, he's like, and we'd always be like, Denis, do you know what you're doing? And but I think that he is such a brilliantly collaborative director, and he brings you into the process. And so by sort of faking that he doesn't know what's going on, he kind of gets you to offer your opinion. You're like, oh wow, this movie would fall apart without me. Oh my god, you know. And then when you see the movie, you're like, he knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. I just think it's just a stunning piece of work.
It's weird because I was talking about it before. That whole feeling of like, people said, you know, it looked like you were having fun in the movie. And I was like, I was irritated in Albuquerque. And I think it was because of that levity. Usually I'm like playing a part that's like that. So then I'm off having fun otherwise in order to equalize. Whereas this movie was more like, there was so much levity on it that I was irritated off the set. I was irritated by Albuquerque. I was irritated by, you know, I don't know why. But then I'd get to the set and all the levity was there. Like, where can I find a moment to like lift? And it was like heavy lifting. It felt like heavy lifting.
So when you're making a movie like that and you're irritated and maybe it's not the best time you're having because of whatever, did you recognize that it was still something special you guys were making?
Totally. No, totally. And you don't know why. And that's Denis. Denis, I think, created something where I must be slow, or there's something unintelligent about this part of myself that I finished this movie and I go, I don't know how it's going to turn out. And I think he created an ambience where it was totally collective, totally communicative, but also didn't give you a feeling of accomplishment, which I think is in the movie. When you watch the movie, you feel just a little uneasy, you're pulled in, but something you know is amiss, you know, and that's how it felt doing the movie. So when we watched the movie, it was like, wow, I had no idea.
For someone who's played Wolverine so many times, there is a ferociousness in your performance that I've never seen before.
Right.
And I'm wondering, where did you pull that from? Was it Denis' direction? Was it just the ensemble together? Like, where did that come from?
Both of those. I think there's also a great responsibility that I felt doing the research I did and read some horrific stories, real life stories of what happens and how devastating it can be. And it really dawned on me the responsibility of playing this story for the truth of the matter and really going to the complex and difficult places. But I remember one scene, there's a scene in the bathroom.
I was going to ask you about that, yeah.
With the hammer. The take before, I thought we got it. I must admit, and by the way, I'd run a marathon to get to there. And I was like, exhausted. And I was sure Denis was coming over to me to say, man, that was the one. We got it, thank you, babe. And he came over and he goes, I really need you to go there, man. I was like, that wasn't there? And he goes, oh no, that's not there. So the next take is the one that's in the movie. And, you know, I would have stopped. If he'd given me the option, I would have said, I think we got it. So, you know, a great director who knows drama, who knows when the right moment and right scene is to go for more.
Could you have made this movie without Denis? Would you have made it?
It's a great question because I had been offered it and it was circling for a while and I didn't sign on until Denis came on board because the movie is part genre movie. There is that element of thriller, edge of your seat, sort of trailer, the cop finding the kid and the father, and it was always in the script, it was always complex and great, but I knew it needed a director of the same kind of mentality and style to bring that, not only the genre element of it out, but also the high ambition of the dramatic element. I think it's a movie which is a thriller that aspires for you to think about it for days after. You know, and there are not many movies like that around, and not many filmmakers who can pull that off.
I mean, for me, it was exciting to be a part of Denis' film because this was his dream project. And I never sort of create the role in a grandiose kind of way because it's hard to live up to in expectations. It's an incredible role. And she is written by Denis in a way that is supposed to be portrayed in the century that we live in today. So I'm very fortunate. She's a great role.
I saw
every moment on set with Denis is amazing.
I'm blown. My mind's blown. The visuals, the lighting. Greg's unbelievable. It's just an honor. Can't believe I'm on this movie. Oh, I'd love just to bring him coffee. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
He was so giving, and his eyes were very loving, and like it's almost like he was looking at me, analyzing and looking, seeing me as Duncan. Like when I talk to Denis and I'm in character, he's definitely like, you see the 14-year-old, you see his passion, and you see him looking at you like, you are Duncan Idaho, Jason.
I mean, with Denis, the first meeting I had with him, that there was this intense connection over the character. He felt very passionate about making her just every woman in a way, and very much at the end of the day, he would always say this is a woman's story. Like, no matter what other story we're telling, the core of this has to, from beginning to end, it has to be this story. And that helped ground me, like, when we were doing any of the stuff. I just, when we were doing all the stuff with the aliens and all of this, it doesn't, people are like, do you like it, all this stuff, like, did you research what it's like? I was like, no, because she's never been in a room with aliens. Like, she's never been in a suit like this. This is all new. And so just going along and being open to the experience was the key thing. And then but again, Denis he's the genius behind it. He's the person who allowed for this creativity to sort of exist. And he's, like, again, patient, calm, provided us with so much information about what the aliens were going to look like, what we were looking at. He developed this language. Anyway, I could keep going, but it was a great crew, and Denis was amazing as well.
He's Canadian.
So he's very, very nice. Does he apologize a lot?
Is there a good Canadian restaurant around here? No. No, there isn't. Let's just start there. There's a reason you're here. Admit it. You want to build a wall? Let's start up north and keep these guys from coming away, taking all our, the number of, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
Pull back.
I'm kidding.
Clearly not a Poutine fan.
Huh? No, but he's fantastic. I really enjoyed working with him. Obviously, I mean, he's got very clear path for you. But he doesn't mind if you wander, or, if you come from across the street or straight there. He was. You knew you were done when he would say. He would come over and he'd say, I love it. I deeply, deeply, deeply love it. And if you said, I would love to do it one more time, he'd say, okay, but I love it. I deeply, deeply, deeply love it. He's from Montreal. That's my Montreal accent. Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve is simply an incredible director. His passion for the material, first and foremost, the earmarked copy of Dune on set that was battered and beaten and bruised with his passion.
He knows exactly what he wants. He's loved this book since he was 14. He's had this movie in his mind. This is one of his dream movies.
I asked him once if what he is making now looks like what he had imagined. And he said yes.
There's something quite vulnerable and incredible when it comes to Denis' films and characters.
What Denis done, it's so dreamlike. It feels like this phantasmagoric fever dream.
Action! Go, 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 go.
He's a nice, warming, caring, funny, intelligent person that reminding them the joy of why we do what we do, which is to imagine and to create something that doesn't exist.
He is a director who really understands how to create the most creative set, the ambiance for people to be at their best.
To see him with the others just having a good old laugh between shots and takes, it just makes it feel like family working with him.
I found Denis to be one of the best collaborators I've ever worked with because we immediately started talking about the scenes and talking about the book. He was always incredibly open to a lot of these things and open to exploring it further.
Denis is so thoughtful with everything that he does. I don't think there's any part of anything that he hasn't thought through like a million times.
Well, I personally, I rave about Denis Villeneuve. Because working with him, there's a few directors in my career that where you're incredibly happy and incredibly creative on set, where you feel absolutely safe and you're allowed to make mistakes and whatever you try is allowed, and the atmosphere is friendly on the set as well, and Denis Villeneuve is one of those very few directors. And working with him is such a pleasure that I hope to be able to do it without a fat suit someday.
When I talk to people about the film, and specifically about the film, I focus on two things that that really came to me when I was watching the film. And one is that Denis really took the characters and this world, this universe, off the page and put it there for us visually. Now we have a visual reference to these words. And the second thing, and I want to say that I always say that this is one of the most beautiful films that I've ever seen in my life. And it's always a risk to say this is the most beautiful film because I feel like I might be forgetting something there. I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody else, but this is probably the most beautiful film that I've ever seen in my life. Visually, it's just stunning. Absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah, there's just no weak link in this movie. Like everything is just so good. It doesn't make sense because it could have gone off the rails in a million different ways when you're dealing with such complicated characters and everything. And I kind of want to touch on that. With the thing about Dune is that it brilliantly holds a mirror. It might be taking place in the future and on another planet, but it brilliantly takes this mirror to our society. And